Welcome to the final episode of the season. I'm very excited. It's been a fascinating season, and I'm delighted to be joined with Virginia. That was a weird sentence. I'm delighted to have Virginia and Darren with me on the show today to do a bit of a review of the season that's gone. So welcome to the show, Virginia and Darren. Maybe we can switch now to thinking a little bit about the season and some of your general, thoughts and ideas. Because just hearing you speak now, I think for me, decision making, which maybe is perhaps not surprising, seemed to be like a central theme that came up time and again. Just maybe not said in those words. What do you guys think about that? Or feel free to share any of your own kind of themes or ideas.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about decision making when it comes to human-animal relations that came up in this is what level you think at, whether you're thinking about individuals or species or types like wild or domestic, and that just changes everything. And it entirely depends what you're trying to achieve. But there are so many trade-offs because what might be the right decision for a species is not necessarily the right decision for an individual, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely came up with a lot of the guests on this. Probably what Andrea Schapper was saying, particularly that comes to mind because that's such a recent episode.
Yeah, I mean, I also wrote down scale because I think it's interesting that you mentioned there the difference between, because there's the species, like there's almost a taxonomy, but there's also a scale at which decision making happens, right? So, like, you've got decision making happening in the home. I think pets came up time and again. You've got decision making happening at the nation state level. What is a nation's policies? And then, of course, like the global level came up both with Andrea and with Angie, right? Speaking about cosmopolitanism, like at what level are animals included or excluded in decision making? And I think what we found was throughout, oftentimes, unless you're thinking about animals' decision-making processes, which I think Will alluded to, most of the time, the ways in which our societies are structured, whether it's in the home or at a global scale, animals are largely absent. Darren, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting listening to this season, how diverse the range of topics are in relation to politics. Like politics is such this like huge kind of umbrella that encompasses so many different types of relationships. Or so I thought it was really helpful to start off with interviewing Will Kimlicka in the very first episode, and specifically when he made that distinction about the three different ways of doing politics, or three different models, I suppose, where you have the politics on behalf of animals, where it's about representative politics. You got politics by animals, so the animals in their own communities, whether it's interspecies or within their own species, doing their own kinds of politics, organizing and governing themselves. And then you have the interspecies or multispecies one, which is politics with animals. Mm-hmm. And so just having that kind of framework and then listening to the rest of the episodes, I just thought, yeah, I mean, sometimes we're talking about doing politics with other animals, but a lot of times it's actually politics within the animal advocacy movement, where there are all these kind of internal debates between abolition and reform and strategies and tactics. So I just thought, yeah, that was fascinating. Those are all really fascinating discussions, and really demonstrates, like just, how many different things are a part of these kind of political discussions about animal advocacy.